Welcome to the show. Now please strap in for the truth and remember the words of the great Tom Cruise.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Now welcome to Off Topic on Point.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening once again, OTOP viewers and listeners. It's time for another episode, and it's also time for another episode with me, Russell, and my good friend James is joining me once again. So, James, how are you this evening? Well, it's
Doing
evening
great.
here.
Good. It's evening when we're doing the podcast. Who knows
That's
where
right.
where
That's
it
right.
reaches you when you see this? Well, I'm doing fantastic. Thanks so much for asking, Russell.
Yeah. Well, no matter what our expectations are, it seems like there's always something to talk about.
Oh yeah.
And this past week was no exception. First of all, it was kind of shocking. We found out just yesterday that Lindsey Graham passed away.
Yeah.
Now, I found out about it this morning because you told me.
That's right. Yeah, I've been keeping it up. It happened overnight. Oh well, I say overnight. It happened late Saturday, early Sunday.
Okay.
He just come back from a trip from Ukraine, and he was complaining about his. From what I'm reading, he had a heart attack.
They
He
were
died.
saying, I just saw something that said that he had a ruptured aorta that was
Ruptured
because
aorta,
of hardening of the arteries.
yeah.
So
So
it's a
he
heart
was 70.
condition.
Yeah, he was 71 years old. I mean, I don't want to suggest that. Oh well, it's about that time.
Well,
But
no, I mean, these days,
but
if you're getting proper medical treatment, typically that you're not going to die at 71 or something like that.
right.
But then you never know. People are
Yeah.
different. So
But the thing about the thing we were talking about, folks, in our pre-meeting, is how Lindsey Graham was one of those rare individuals who actually had a bit of a backbone in the United States Senate. He really did support a lot of the policies of Donald Trump at a time when most politicians won't stick their neck out for anything.
yeah,
He was, a staunch ally of the president. I appreciate that. And Donald Trump said that his proudest moment of Lindsey Graham is when the senators stood up to Senate Democrats during the confirmation hearing of Brett Kavanaugh.
yeah,
Of course,
that was.
Yep. And the thing about this case is that, say what you want about Brett Kavanaugh and his policies, I don't agree with every decision he makes politically or as a judge on the Supreme Court, but he did vote in favor of the overturn of Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, right.
Along with the other Trump justices.
Yeah, and there's other decisions. I mean, for most of the time, he is on the right side of decisions. So
Yeah.
I mean,
But at least-
that's so.
Yeah.
Lindsey Graham had an impact, and
Yeah, an impact.
it's very shocking. I mean, we're over here wondering about oh gosh, what's the other gentleman's name that was apparently comatose recently?
Oh, you're talking about Mitch McConnell?
Mitch McConnell, his name
Yeah.
escaped me. So
No, I
Mitch
know.
McConnell, we're over there. We're seeing these conversations about is he even alive, and while we're focused there, Lindsey Graham passes away.
Yeah.
So really shocking.
Yeah.
Really
Definitely.
shocking. Well, I think he was a
Yeah.
believer, and so that being the case, then he is with his Lord right now.
Amen.
So what else tonight did your sleuthing bring into
Yes.
the OTOP world?
Right, exactly. And I'm glad you said that. And again, our hearts and prayers go out to Lindsey Graham and his family.
Yes.
But other issues that are just other issues pressing on in the news front that make it really relevant to us today. The issue of race has come up really strong this past week. Not only if you recall, we talked about the case with Karmelo Anthony, a young black high school student who killed another high school student, a white high school student.
Yeah.
We had people saying it's unfair that he got 35 years in prison. I'm sorry.
Well, I agree with that.
Yeah, it should be. Most people get life in prison. Most
Right.
people get the electric chair. We don't.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily subscribe to everything, but we've seen these issues, these stories become these flashpoints. And just the other day, we had a 19-year-old boy from Mississippi named Nolan Wells star athlete on his high school football team, was going to go play football in college. He went on a 4th of July trip with his friends, and they were white. They took a boat to an uninhabited island. They say they last saw him around 3 o'clock, and they never saw him ever again. His body was found washed up, I believe 2 days later, and that's become another flashpoint because in past, you say the word Mississippi, and you think of Ku Klux Klan and all these civil rights leaders, and the sins of the South are coming to be are being revisited in this case. Now, granted, none of us know what's going on in this case. His parents went on Good Morning America and said, "We just want answers. Why did he die? What happened to his phone? Did he drown? He was a great swimmer. What's going on?" They just want answers. But the thing is, Russell, the family hired civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump, and you and I know who he is.
Yeah.
But for our OTOP world, he represented the families of Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. These are all figures that made national news for allegations of racial injustice, racial profiling. So the fact that this man has come onto this case kind of leads me to believe that he believes that there's some foul play going on, that this black boy was murdered by white boys, and law enforcement and people like that are up to no good. That's the assumption. And Tyler Perry offered to pay the cost of the funeral. Colin Kaepernick, Mr. NFL, Mr. I'm going to take a knee and not stand for the national anthem.
Yeah.
He's paying for the independent autopsy, to which Mississippi authorities are saying, we welcome it because we want more eyes and ears, because we want to find out what happened to this boy.
Yeah.
So we're not seeing this big massive cover up.
Yeah. Well,
But that's how
that's the way Mr. Crump wants it to be, because he's a race baiter, and he's gonna make it about that.
Yeah.
That's how he makes his money, is by keeping racism alive.
Yeah. Keep fanning the flames of racism.
And that makes him a racist. Forgive me, but sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, well, that's how he makes his money. He gravitates toward cases where he can kind of make a name for himself.
Mm-hmm. That's it. And so it's
one of those things.
Some people will do anything for money.
Yeah, exactly. Because I don't know what multi-million-dollar payout he planned to get off the death of this young man. It didn't sound like he was up to no good. He sounded like he was a pretty model student, a student athlete. It sounded like he just simply drowned. Yeah. But I don't know. But they're thinking that.
I don't know. And if he was murdered, then we want to know that for sure. And justice needs to be served, because it's never right to murder, right? And so it's never right to murder. And so if that's what the law enforcement authorities are saying, more power to them. Yeah, let's get the autopsy and let's find out what happened.
But yeah, I think for our OTOP listeners, I think it's one of those dangerous things, because I think that you have people out there that profiteer off of racism.
Yeah.
Benjamin Crump is most likely the architect behind Black Lives Matter and Save My Name and all these kinds of things. He fans the flames for these things, and I would love to look at his financial disclosures. I'm sure he's made so much money off of racism.
Oh, without question, brother.
Yes, exactly.
Without question.
Yeah, and I would urge all our listeners to just stop and just consider, next time there is a news story like this, just remember, please, there's a victim, there's a victim's family, that people are dying, there are people, real life people that are hurting. Let's not exploit everything for political gain.
That's right. And people do that, though. There was some kind of a Longview, Texas story or something, wasn't there?
Yeah. Yes, there sure is. In Longview, Texas, at the Whiskey J Night Bar Saloon, a group of black women, they were kicked out of the bar.
Yeah.
And they were saying, we're going to beat up the next white woman that we see. And they did. And they beat up the petite, blonde, blue-eyed woman. And they said, and they chanted, Karmelo Anthony, Karmelo Anthony, who was, of course, the young boy who was in Texas who murdered Austin Metcalf.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
they're using the fact that murdered someone as their justification to beat up on white people.
And it's really the fact that he was incarcerated.
Yeah,
they
the
were
fact that
upset
he's
about.
incarcerated, right?
And so the
Yeah.
way they're going to respond to it is they want to be incarcerated too. Is that what I'm hearing?
Right, exactly. They're going to be incarcerated, yeah, because they were arrested
Oh,
and they have been charged. But it's sickening because people use that. They're using the I'm a victim of racism as an excuse to get out of being responsible. I'm going to behave really badly because I feel aggrieved because I've been the victim, and it's not even themselves personally. What do
yeah.
these women have anything to do with Carmelo Anthony or his family? They're not even, they just saw it on the news. Same thing with the case with Nolan Wells. These individuals in question, I don't know this young man. I don't know any of these people in Mississippi related to this case.
Mhm.
So what are you doing getting angry on their behalf when you or I don't even know what's going on? They don't know what's going on. The police
Well,
don't know what's going on.
it shows where your assumptions lie.
Yeah.
Our responses always show where our assumptions lie. But that incident in Longview, Texas, it jogs my mind, or in my mind, a memory of what happened to Caitlin Clark recently, and so just kind of like to carry that concept forward even more.
Oh yeah, that's excellent. Of course, for our OTOP listeners and viewers, Caitlin Clark plays for the WNBA. She plays for the Indiana Fever. She was the 2024 Rookie of the Year. She was a top pick in the WNBA, and she's also white. And the WNBA is historically a league that employs a lot of black players, black women's players. And there are those who are saying that, well, it wasn't until Caitlin Clark came along that people started really tuning in. But
Yeah.
let's not put her up on some kind of pedestal. Scoring like 20 something points a game and all these blocks and rebounds and all these assists. There's these allegations that there's people in the league that are specifically targeting her.
Mhm.
They're very jealous of her. And you have people like Sophie Cunningham saying it's racism against white people. So it's a very disturbing trend because I
Yeah.
think we're seeing that. Before, the allegations have always been, we as black people are victims of racism against whites. So therefore, we're going to turn it around. We're going to put it on you. We're going to bring the racism to you
Mhm.
and discriminate against you, and we're gonna harm you on account of your skin color. And I'm saying, wait a second, that's not what the civil rights movement was for. That's the absolute wrong direction that we should be going in as a culture. It's often
Yeah,
said,
these people seem to be oblivious to the fact that the very depravity that caused slavery and Jim Crow laws and all, they have that depravity in them too, because they're just as human, and now they're exercising that depravity themselves.
Yeah. It's to the point where a group of Republican congressmen have even sent a letter to the WNBA commissioner saying, we want to look into the fact that why is Caitlin Clark among all these other players getting hip checked, getting poked in the eye? Why are players stepping on her throat? She could be severely injured. Why? And there's not calls, there's not technical fouls, there's not reprimand. You have Caitlin Clark saying, "Hey, wait a second, I'm getting clobbered here."
Yeah,
Why?
and
Where are
no
the
calls
fouls?
by the refs, the
Yeah,
referees.
exactly. They're saying
That's fishy.
yeah, that is. And then you have people saying, she just needs to suck it up. She just needs to toughen it up. This is how we
Well,
play in the W.
These people get fined, they need to suck it up too. They get
But I guess
benched,
the
they
point
need to
is they're
suck
not.
it up.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I guess Caitlin Clark's and Sophie Cunningham's position is they're not getting fined. They're getting away with it because it's against white people.
Well, I'm glad
Now,
Congress is addressing it. There's other things Congress needs to address also
yes,
that are of
like
a
funding
more
our military,
governmental
but
nature, but I am glad they're trying to shed some light on this also, shine the light of
right.
truth on it.
Because this idea that, hey, I'm a black person and I think I've been the victim of racism. Therefore, I'm going to be violent against white people. I think that's a very dangerous, thought concept. You can justify
Well,
anything when you
that
think you're
in
the
and of
victim.
itself is racism. So that's just, in effect saying, I think racism was perpetrated against me, so I'm going to perpetrate racism on other people. Well, you invalidate your whole position there, because if you're willing to be a racist, then you can't really complain when somebody's being a racist against you. It doesn't work. You might push back, but you can't complain and have civil rights movements and all this other stuff going on. I realize the majority of Black people are not doing what we're talking about here.
Absolutely.
Okay, so, but I'm saying for these people and their thinking, you need to really take into consideration your own hypocrisy. And the fact is that you are doing essentially the same thing that you're complaining about.
Absolutely.
And you don't get to do it while telling other people they can't. That's just not how reality works.
Yeah, and it also, and I would argue, it also doesn't make our cause sympathetic to anyone. Because I think, and I think the civil rights, I think one of the things that Dr. Martin Luther King did successfully was that he was able to build a broad-based coalition of people, create or advocate for a standard where all people should be treated equally, not favored, but equally.
Yeah.
And I think that was a reasonable position that quite a number of people in America resonate with.
Yeah.
But if we're going to take it this far and to say, whatever you do to me, you take out my eye, I take out your head.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work. It's not really the biblical ethic. It doesn't reflect charity, forgiveness, reconciliation, peace. There are no mentions of these things at all in these national stories. It's like, as a culture, we've abandoned, discovering ways we can work together, compromise, reconcile. It's punish, cancel.
Yeah.
That's the polarization of politics in America, and I think it's a shame. I think we have to do better as a nation, especially a nation founded on Christian ideals.
Agreed. Yeah, Judeo-Christian ethic, as I've mentioned before. So, well, I guess that kind of wraps up all the things we had to talk about this evening. I do want us to spend just a minute or two talking to our audience here, if you don't mind, James, and want to encourage people. First of all, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and to that end, don't forget that we have an email address that you can communicate with us at. It's otopnow@gmail.com. And so I would like to make an appeal to everyone. I'm not sure, James, how interested people are in the things we talk about. I mean, we find them interesting.
Of course.
And I think that to some extent, a lot of these stories are relevant, and we try to share oftentimes a biblical perspective on these cultural issues that we talk about and so forth. But, it just may be that the OTOP family wants something different, or wants something in addition, or wants something more. I don't know. So I'd like to encourage all of you that tune in, while you're liking and commenting and sharing and subscribing, to help us with the algorithms to push this out to more people. We really would like to know, what are some things that you think we ought to cover? And what are some things you think we ought to address? And it doesn't have to be news items. It can be, it can be current events, but it can also be theological issues, social issues, cultural issues, issues that affect the needy, or just whatever it is that you're thinking that would be a good fit for this podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Again, you can email us at otopnow@gmail.com, but you can just go ahead and comment below, and we will look at the comments. And what I'd like to do is maybe, James, if people communicate with us, maybe every episode we pull a few of those messages out and we address them.
Yeah,
that way people can get their name on the podcast if they want it.
That's great.
So what are your thoughts on all that, James?
I think that's great. I mean, if there's a topic that you all want us to cover, yeah, I agree with Russell. Just drop it, just send it to us as an email or just drop it in the comments. Like, hey, you guys need to talk about this, and we'll probably shout you out because it's not like we have hundreds or thousands of comments to call through every
That's
single week,
right.
unfortunately.
Someday, brother, someday.
Someday, yeah. Today's not that day. So if you have a comment for us or a show topic, we can discuss that. Maybe we could do that. Maybe we can do that at the top of the hour or top of the segment.
Well, we'll see what feels natural, right?
Sure.
All right. Well, James, I think that's a wrap for us. I enjoyed this as I always do, and I think I always appreciate your grasp of the subject matter out there in the news industry. I like to tell people from time to time and remind them that you are a journalist, and I think you just have this in your DNA to go out and look for stories and report on them, and that's a great benefit to the OTOP podcast here and to the OTOP family. So, folks, that'll be it for this particular episode. Hope everybody is doing well. And until next time, don't forget, you can be off topic. That's the name of the game here at this podcast. We try to be on topic, but if you are off topic, you still need to be on point. Right, James?
Amen. Amen.
All right. So until next time, folks, good night and goodbye.
Good night.